let's get started. I'm Joanna Sinwell. I'm Vice President of the NAMI Johnson County affiliate, and I'm welcoming Renee Schell and Clark Bacco from the Frontier House in Greeley, Colorado. I know we're in Iowa City here, but I have longstanding connection to these folks. In fact, I'm still on the board of this wonderful clubhouse, and I think I've been involved over 20 years. And so this is a program I'm passionate about, and I'm so glad I could bring these folks on to tell you guys more about it. Renee is the program director of Frontier House and I think you've been there well over 25 years, maybe 28.
26 plus, yeah.
26, right? Wow. And she's going to tell you a little bit more about her background. And Clark is a member, though we call them colleagues in Clubhouse jargon. And he's going to tell you a little bit about what it's like to be a colleague in Frontier House and how he came to be there. So why don't you take it away, Renee? I think you're going to start out with a video.
I am. Are we ready for that?
Well, why don't you first talk a little bit more about yourself, and then you can introduce the
All right. Well, first off, thank you so much for having Clark and myself. It is always a pleasure to take the opportunity to talk about something that's very close to near and dear to us as well. As Joanna mentioned, I've been with the Clubhouse world for a long time. All of my years with the Clubhouse program has been with Frontier House specifically. But I started out, in high school, actually wanting to be a part of the mental health world of recovery. Wasn't sure what that quite looked like back then. And it did look different back then. That things have changed and come a long ways in terms of hope and opportunities in recovery. But anyways, I started my undergrad in psychology and then graduated with that. Didn't have any idea what I wanted to do. And I was already working for the Community Mental Health Center here in our town in Greeley, Colorado. And a position here at Frontier House came open, and I really didn't know anything about it, but I thought this is a great opportunity to get a full-time job and take some gap time, if you will, and decide what I want to do to go back to school. Thinking I wanted to become a kind of a clinical counselor, have an office setting where folks would come in and we would get into therapy. And I started working here at the Clubhouse, and I just fell in love pretty quickly because of the unique nature of the relationships, the focus being very action oriented and being the focus is on the achievement of life goals, and I just loved that. And I'm a very active person, and I love to be on the go, and this place kept me busy. So anyways, I went back to grad school, focused more on the discipline of rehabilitation counseling, which is ultimately a big part of what Clubhouse does. And so, and then through my time, I became the director. So I've been in this role for going on 14 years. And recently I've have had the privilege to join an international group called the Clubhouse International Faculty of Clubhouse Development. And these are Clubhouse colleagues from around the world who are in place to provide advisory and consultative feedback and information to the global community of Clubhouses, and conducting accreditation visits for Clubhouses, either achieving accreditation or sustaining accreditation. There you go.
Clark, you want to speak to your background a little bit and how you came to Clubhouse?
Oh, sure. I grew up in Connecticut. I'm 6 out of 7 of an Italian-American family. And we did a lot of chores, and we kept, I had very good nurturing and stable childhood environment, which not many people do. And so I'm thankful for that, and I've become to appreciate that very much as of late. One of the things that happened was I would be in and out of I would be talking to my primary care providers about depression, and I heard, can't tell you how many times I heard what I have is called situational depression. Situations changes, you're not depressed anymore. Sounds very simple to understand, but eventually situations would change, but my mood wouldn't. So when I got into an accident, I was on a motorcycle, I got hit by a car. It was a low speed accident, but it crushed my left foot. I was in the hospital for 3.5 weeks, and then transferred to acute care in a nursing home. Well, spending 4.5 months in a nursing home, things kind of boiled over, and some words were said, and I was awarded a 2-week stay for a psych evaluation at a mental health facility here in Colorado. And following that, I was developing an aftercare to get out of rehab. Okay, I think I'm dialing, but I'll get going here to the story. And this is where the story begins. That was the background information. This is the story of the infiltrator. So I get a visit, and somebody asks me all these questions. I really don't know who they are or what they're trying to do. And then when she's done asking questions, she goes, "Oh, okay, you'll be gone next Tuesday. You don't need our help anymore because you can take care of yourself." I was like, "What?" And I had no house to go to and whatever. I had heard about Frontier House previously in a conversation in the dining hall of the nursing home. The people I were talking to were actually members of Frontier House, and I had no idea what a clubhouse was. So when it comes time to leave, I found out that there was a cold weather shelter here. And I said, I found out 2 things. There's a Frontier House I can go to during the day. There's a cold weather shelter I can go to at night. And they go, "Good enough for us." Boom. Next thing I know, I'm in a van and I'm coming to Greeley. Well, I was in Windsor at the time. I had Greeley anyway. So we pull into the back parking lot. I'd never laid eyes on the building at all. Like, okay, there's a ramp going up to the back door. I needed a walker to get anywhere at the time. And we unload the walker, and I'm coming up the ramp, and I'm waiting for him to like come around me, because usually the bipedal people can walk faster than the ones with the walkers. And I don't see him, and I'm getting closer to the door. I look over my shoulder and I hear the van honk, and I see an arm out the window. So I come in the back door. I see the guy that told me about Clubhouse a lot. Hey, I told him the situation. He goes, "Yeah, we can get you helped out." And I asked him about the shelter and all this stuff. And I just start helping where I can and following in. And I'm just glad to be able to, be functional. It's a half a year in a nursing home, and started helping out where I could. And what I did, I have extensive experience and knowledge in culinary arts, restaurant management, and hospitality, and a larger thing. So I was helping out there, but because of my physical things, I went to the clerical unit. Later than sooner. People, they were in a conversation, they're going over some paperwork. I see this, and I'm kind of outside this group that's going over paperwork. And one of them asks, "Who's my liaison?" Right? And I said, "I have no idea." Like, "Well, who did my training?" I said, "I don't." Orientation. She goes, "Who did my orientation?" I said, "I didn't know that we did orientations here." Come to find out, I did this little stretch just because I fall right in, because of my nature. I got to know everybody. I'm shaking hands. I'm doing what I can. Everybody's having a high five time. And then one person stops and goes, "Who did your orientation, Clark?" And I go, "What's an orientation?" So a couple months down the road, there's no need to do an orientation anymore. They just created a file for me and stuff. Now that's highly unusual, because have a great system of referral that you're going to learn about and that we come through here. But so they named me the infiltrator. I was the guy that infiltrated. So first thing that I did, once I'm officially, and cat's out of the bag, Clark's in the house, was I said, we need to get a lock on that back door and a camera. So people just can't come in with a walker and do it. So I was the last guy that's able to sneak in the door, because we have a lock and camera in the back door. And that's the story of the infiltrator. With the Clubhouse, I just was ready to just, do things. participate, make myself useful to the world. And it's just been fantastic. I love, for a while I did orientations. I love doing that quite a bit. I don't come as often as I did. Health problems and just a little overworked. But through the Clubhouse, great. I've been to a national convention. That's Bethesda, Maryland, and international convention that was in Baltimore. I did a 2-week training in Worcester, Massachusetts at the Genesis Club. So it's just the great connections that I meet from the worldwide community, the national community, you know, and our sister clubhouse in Mass. Aside from that, we do great socials. We go to Capitol Hill. You're going to learn about all that stuff. I've really enjoyed participating. I had to scale back a little bit. I was doing the newsletter. I started a Radical Music Wellness Group. Anyway, so that's exactly how I said it every single time. I could not say Radical Music Wellness Group without doing that, and the brand stuck. And so it was popular for a while. We'll get back to that. NAMI. So then I find about NAMI. So I come in here and there's a group talking, and they're like, "Hey, we're the National Alliance on Mental Illness. We're NAMI. Would you like to join in? You know, we help people. This is a connections group." So in due order, we're wondering where the president was, and then they were wondering where their money was. Anyway, so I joined in to dissolve the old affiliate to start a new one, and that we're a B affiliate now. Eventually I did step down last year from the president after being 5 years. It was just a little too much. I'm retaining myself, or I'm offering myself, and they have contacted me. We have great contact. I just couldn't do what I was doing so much. And so I'm focusing on fundraising for the local NAMI, and I've got a really good prospect that's happening, and getting the word out and doing events. I love NAMI. I love that I've done with NAMI. Both those instances go so well. And when I learned that the NAMI in Greeley here, and there's a clubhouse here in Greeley, is not a unique thing. It just makes sense, and it's a great pairing of NAMI and Clubhouse International. So what we have here in Greeley is not unique, but we certainly could use more of them in Colorado. And
Everywhere.
I think that's it. I don't want to talk too. All right, well, if I can't find out where I'm at, it's time to move on.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, if I may, go ahead and start. We do have a video we want to share. It's just a 5-minute video, but it gives you a closer look into our clubhouse a little bit, but also from the members' perspective. There are 3 members, I believe, that speak on this video.
So the Frontier House for me has become basically a second home. I was a loner. I was just very much alienated as a person. I did not fit in because I struggle with mental illness, because I struggle with self-injury. I grew up in very hard times, and it just seemed to get worse, and I just did a lot of struggling with my life, to where I became suicidal. And I went to the hospital, and they gave me treatments, and I did classes in there, and I came out, but I still struggled. My therapist suggested Frontier House to me, and I said, okay, I'll give it a shot.
I've moved a lot. I moved around a lot. About 20 states, just about 20 years. I spent a long time just kind of dealing with things on my own, doing things on my own, as far as just like moving, handling the mental health part. A lot of times I didn't find what I was looking for. I just kind of like just sit back at home and kind of give up, I guess. But then, like when I got here, I was talking to a therapist, and she's like, "I think you might like this place. You should check it out."
My first time here was kind of scary. But the more I came, the more I got relaxed, and I made a whole lot of friends. The staff was very influential in maintaining me coming back.
And then like, orientation. I was hooked. Like from there, I mean, I really felt like this is what I've been looking for all those years, like the community. The ability to just kind of lean on somebody if you need, talk to somebody, help someone out, be there for somebody.
They have that saying, you're wanted, needed, and expected. And I have that on 4 different t-shirts. Because I really like this saying.
It always turns out good. Like you can either plan reasons to be here or you can just find them. It's really,
it's more than just a place to be. There is that sense of community and that sense of family. Everybody here is just really easy to talk to and very friendly. And I can get advice from other people, and because other people may have been in that situation and they can tell me, how they cope through it, or the staff is always willing to help me out and lend an ear if I just need to vent or something. They always listen.
it's a huge cloud of understanding. Like they want you here on your bad days, because the more help you need on those days, you're not gonna be able to find it if you're isolated. You can come in here and someone can talk to you, and that might help bring them down, or someone can help. There's always someone to help you.
I walk in and they say, hey, like on that TV show, Cheers.
I can still make some friends, and like being here this last year, like a lot of these people mean a lot to me. I don't think I'd ever be able to leave it.
I want the community to know that it's just a place for someone to be authentic and be who they want to be.
Just really a big fan of the ways, like I see this as like a really big campfire, and we all just kind of come and sit down and enjoy the warmth for a little while. And we'll go back, our own little way. But you're always free to come back and sit back at that fire whenever you want.
That video, as well as there's another video that can be found at our website, on our website, frontierhouse.org. So you're welcome to go back in and view that again. Every time I hear that, I watch these videos, I get a little teared up because I know these people, and it's really cool to hear how they speak about the Clubhouse. So if I may go ahead and share my screen again, I'm going to share a slideshow. And Clark and I are going to talk about what the Clubhouse is. And so here is the Frontier House. We are located in Greeley, and Clark and I are your presenters. So who are we? Clubhouses, we're a clubhouse, and we're built upon the belief that every member has the potential to sufficiently recover from the effects of mental illness to lead personally satisfying lives as an integrated member of the society. Clubhouses are communities of people who are dedicated to one another's success, no matter how long it takes or how difficult it is. Clubhouses are organized around the belief that through work and work-mediated relationships, there's opportunity for restoration, and we provide a firm foundation for growth and important individual achievement. The Clubhouse model, it's considered a Clubhouse model of psychosocial rehabilitation, and it was developed back in the 1940s with the inception of, a support group called We Are Not Alone, or WANA for short, that band together during their stay in a psychiatric, New York psychiatric hospital. And then the first Clubhouse Fountain House opened up in New York City. I want to also preface that Clubhouses themselves are not residential facilities. The house part of the name obviously can imply that impression sometimes, but we are building itself. Our actual clubhouse is not a residential facility. In fact, most of our members do live independently. We will talk about housing as a part of the clubhouse model later on in our presentation. Communities around the world ended up modeling themselves after Fountain House. Embrace the term clubhouse because clubhouse clearly communicates the message of membership and belonging. And this message of inclusion is at the very heart of the clubhouse way of working. And of course, the clubhouse is a membership organization, and the people who come to the clubhouse and participate in the clubhouse and all the things that we have to offer, they are our members. And membership in a clubhouse is open up to anybody who has history of mental illness. And the idea of membership is fundamental to the clubhouse concept, that being a member of an organization means that an individual has both shared ownership and shared responsibility for the success of that organization. And of course, being a part of an organization means to belong, to fit in somewhere, and to have a place where one is always welcome, wanted, needed, and expected. And for a person living with mental illness, these simple things can't be taken for granted. In fact, the reality for most people who live with mental illness is that they have a constant sense of not fitting and of isolation and rejection. As we know, many of us know, mental illness often has the devastating effect of separating people from others in the society. And clubhouses bring people together. So the Clubhouse offers people who have mental illness hope and opportunities to achieve their full potential. And how do we do this? And we do this through a very broad, holistic, inclusive, sustaining, responsive, and cost-effective way. We offer opportunities for friendship, employment, education, access to quality housing as much as we can, medical and psychiatric services, all through a caring and safe environment. We're inclusive. We work with our members so they can meet and follow the example of others who are achieving their own personal aspirations and goals. We help members become productive members of the society over the course of their lives. Clubhouses are very much about connecting people to the broader community. And we're responsive. We're dedicated to the continuous improvement based on the direct feedback from our members. The Clubhouse is really only as good as the membership, and the membership feeds the Clubhouse what it needs and what they need so that it can better provide the enhancements and the opportunities that the membership is needing. And we are cost effective. We provide members and families and communities significantly more value for the money than some other approaches. Clark, I'm going to hand this off to you.
Oh, right, that's me, number 4.
Okay.
Outcomes. Outcomes is, this slide speaks to the brass tacks of the validity. I mean, how do people know that we're doing what we claim? Well, these are evidence-based practices. And the evidence is just getting better all the time. Clubhouse, as you can see here on the slide, is now part of the SAMHSA's National Registry of Evidence-Based Programs and Practices. And also, we've gained, I don't want to jump too much out of it, but recognition through World Health Organization too. So the outcomes that we like to talk about are employment. That's like a really big thing here. And this talks to the fact that people are, the members, us, are taking an active part in our own recovery. We're not just laying back on the couch and having you talk to us. Cookies and milk, that's good. Maybe watch Monk, but no. We don't do that. We help people get into employment because people like to do that through employment. The business owner or manager gets the benefit of that, right? Have an employee. They guarantee certain things, transitional employment and supported employment. So it works best for everybody, and the individual feels they're getting more worth and some cash out of it too, if they do. So it improves the well-being too here, most close friendships, natural support, side by side is what we like to say. You know, rarely do you see somebody sitting by themselves and working on one thing. We like to take care of things in pairs. It works out very well to help nurture a natural relationship that forms these bonds that makes clubhouses really work well. And the better physical and mental health. I have better mental health. I have certain accidents that occurred before, but still, just being with the clubhouse and being connected to something like this helps if you're motivated that way, and you have to take an active part to contact and be in connection with all our resources in the community. Clubhouse is a great hub for that, and not just the staff that work from North Range, it's other colleagues that are members here. They've been the same route. Like when it came time for me to go to a judge, go to court and plead my case for a disability. I found many people that had done that, and I did some research and talked around, and it helped out well. So we come together like that. Reduce hospital stays and recidivism. I can speak to that. The 2-week stay I talked about earlier in the psych ward or whatever they call it. My insurance paid more for that 2-week stay than it would cost to sponsor a member for a year at a clubhouse. That's how cost effective this program is. So this is the international one. This is easy. It's crunching numbers. There are 352. This says 320 plus. It's changing all the time, obviously. More than half of those are in the United States. And like I said earlier, I was able to keep in touch with these people. I mean, we can just reach out at any time and say, hey, we're your sister. Here we are. You know, reach out to Japan or Australia or Hawaii. But we also get to meet on the international community through national conventions and international conventions. The clubhouses built into the model is to raise funds to send a couple members to these. Whenever these happen, I think a couple staff and a couple members. So we got like 4 or 5 colleagues that go to these. And it's just a great experience. You absorb the culture of Clubhouse International, and you absorb the enthusiasm of the whole movement that you want to, you know, that is going to happen in each individual house. But when you get all that enthusiasm and momentum together in one spot, it's magical. And who do we serve? Who do we serve? Adults. We're not we don't take care of youth. Youths are not our thing. Young adults are. And the only criteria to join that you have a history of mental illness. It doesn't mean like you have to have a long history, you know, long as my right arm or whatever the song says. It could be just that one diagnosis that you just had, and you come in as long as you have something that meets our criteria and as dictated by our 37 standards of operation that come from Clubhouse International. So you don't have to receive through our hospice agency. We are a program in North Range, behavioral health here in Greeley. But that's like we're part of North Range because we're a program with them, but we're part of Clubhouse International. And that's really what we are. So we have what's called an hospice agency. They keep the doors open. There are standalone ones that if you're interested and you're getting to the point where you're going to grow some clubhouses here, you can look into those models too. Those are standalone. I happen to have started with an hospice agency. It's the only way I know of. I mean, I know other wings because Genesis was a standalone, but I haven't lived those. And we are thankful for that. Well, look at that. This is our little neck of the woods right here.
Yeah, and I see a mistake there. It's 1,500.
Did we pass 1,500?
Yeah, we're at 1,550 members today. Sorry about that.
1,550?
That's a typo.
I don't come by here enough anymore. I can't believe it. I was waiting for that milestone last year and we did it. Excellent. Yeah, so we average daily attendance is about 42. One of the things that occurs when you go to a 2-week training is you form your own task force or whatever, and they come back to the Clubhouse after the training. And during training, we evaluated Clubhouses and try to pick places where we can improve upon. And one of the things that we did a couple years ago when I went to training was we decided to increase the daily attendance. And our goal was 50 at the time. And, you know, of course, we knew what we were getting into, trying to increase attendance during a pandemic. Luckily, it was at the tail end of the pandemic. Oh, anyway, it worked out. So we're getting there. We're getting back up and we're doing that.
Great, thank you. So we get that a lot, you know, that there are a lot of really good programs out there doing great things when it comes to assisting, providing opportunities and assisting folks with recovery and wellness options. But the one program that I think we get compared to a lot or sometimes bulked into are drop-in centers. So we want to make sure that we share what might be the difference between Clubhouse programs and drop-in centers. And this is just kind of the basic bullet points on it. Drop-in centers are usually peer run or consumer run. So I know in our state, they're peer specialists that will run, that are hired by whatever their organization is to help facilitate and run that drop-in center. Whereas Clubhouses are consumer driven or peer driven. And we have the paid professional staff colleagues on hand to support the multiple functions and services built into the Clubhouse model, such as employment and education assistance. Usually the purpose of drop-in centers is to provide that supportive environment for socialization. And they have various consumer peer-run groups and activities to kind of support as an adjunct to maybe the clinical services, but it's very much a socialization setting and a setting where they're working on maybe some, you know, social skills and the like. The purpose of Clubhouse is to provide a very structured environment which supports members in achieving the recovery-focused life goals, such as finding employment and possibly going through education to do so, and establishing that natural support system and being involved in the variety of those structures built into the Clubhouse at their own choosing. It's a very much, it's a community, and there's so much involved in a Clubhouse that it's hard to say it is just a program or a facility, because it expands way beyond that in terms of the relationships and all of the natural and organic supports and opportunities built in with the Clubhouse. And so we're hoping that through this slideshow and through what Clark and I share with you, you kind of get a better sense of what that looks like. But ultimately, the Clubhouse helps members achieve life goals. And basically what I like to say is that if you're human, you have life goals, and there's a common thread. Everybody on this slideshow has a common thread, that your life goals basically boil down to two things: meaningful relationships and meaningful purpose, meaningful work, and that comes from purpose. Whatever we do boils down to something that has to do with that. And that's essentially what the Clubhouse does, is provide whatever we can and the opportunities that we have available to help our members achieve that. A Clubhouse has 4 guarantees. This is written within our whole accreditation with Clubhouse International. The Clubhouse has a guarantee to a right to a place to come. So if an individual becomes a member of the Clubhouse, they can come and go, utilize the Clubhouse as much or as little as they want. There is nothing that dictates their involvement or participation. There's nothing that says they have to be involved in one aspect of the Clubhouse and another aspect to get access to one. It doesn't matter. Members totally, just as if you joined an organization yourself, or church, maybe, we're not faith-based, but it's common for people to be involved in a spiritual community. You access that community as much or as little as you want and as much as you desire, recognizing that that whatever your level of involvement is with that organization is the level of what you get out of it. And the Clubhouse membership is just that. The standards that we have briefly mentioned that we follow as a Clubhouse program, there's 37 of them. The number one first standard listed is that membership is voluntary and without time limits. So members have a right to a place to come, and that in itself is a very important thing. A right to meaningful relationships, again, meaningful work, I'm sorry, we'll get to right to meaningful relationships. The Clubhouse provides Clubhouse provides meaningfulness and purpose in everything we do. And meaningful work, of course, our minds want to go directly to employment, which that is really important for a lot of people. A lot of our members seeking the Clubhouse as a new member are looking for work, and that's a big part of what we do. But meaningful work is basically boils down to purpose. You know, do you have a purpose to get up in the morning? What is going to motivate you to walk out the door? You know, and those are the things that we're helping people with. They can get their meaningful work through coming into the Clubhouse and being involved in the operation of the Clubhouse, because we need that. We need our members to be involved in order for our Clubhouse to operate. Or it could be, I want to find meaningful work because, you know, through employment, that's how I want to do that as well. So the Clubhouse helps with various opportunities with that. There's the meaningful relationships I kept wanting to mention. Obviously, meaningful relationships, you know, we're human and we thrive on relationships. It could be a spiritual relationship. It could be a relationship you have with a pet, or a relationship we have with one another. You know, you think about your relationships and how meaningful they are to you. And the Clubhouse is a natural setting, a naturalized setting where our colleagues can develop those meaningful relationships in the Clubhouse community itself. Sometimes people who experience mental illness experience that isolation, experience maybe not having family members around to support them, experience maybe not having such a supportive and positive friend group. Yeah, the Clubhouse can help with all of that through just being involved in our community. It's important to note that in a Clubhouse, relationships are very, they're collegial, meaning that we work side by side, members and staff. The really cool thing about Clubhouse is there's not a hierarchy in relationships. Clark and I here are working together as colleagues on this presentation. Hopefully you get a sense of that. That is what it's like in our Clubhouse. Our roles are different. I'm the Clubhouse director. Clark is a Clubhouse member, but we're still colleagues and we work side by side. And it's a very, I think that's one of the things I love the most about the Clubhouse is that you don't experience that type of relationship anywhere else in the mental health field. There's usually a hierarchy of a professional or a paid peer or somebody who's going to be in a different hierarchy than the individuals or the participants, whereas the Clubhouse, we're working side by side in everything that we do. And so members are involved in all aspects of the Clubhouse, and you'll get a sense of that through this presentation. And then the last guarantee, or the fourth guarantee, is a right to a place to return. Again, that goes back to that number one standard that membership is lifelong. And our Clubhouse is approaching our 34th anniversary, and I've been here for 26 of those years, and I've known members for 26 years. And those are very deep collegial relationships. They've saw me before I even had babies, and now my kids are adults. So, you know, our members, we have formed some very tight community relationships, and having that rotating door is important. People come, they come, they grow, they go, and they come back when they want. And that could be day to day. That could be in 10 years, 15 years. I can tell you how many times I haven't there hasn't been a member that I have not seen for many, many, many years. And they walk right into the door and they are welcome. Immediate access to the Clubhouse community. That's really important in the mental health world. Okay, so what do? A Clubhouse. In a Clubhouse, a person with mental illness, as mentioned, is a valued participant, a colleague, and there's someone who has something to contribute to the rest of the community. Each person is a critical part of the community and engaged in the important work. These are real pictures of our colleagues. And again, the one thing I love about the Clubhouse is that you can't always tell who's a staff and a member, because we really truly we're colleagues, and we wipe away the labels and the stigmas that others might experience, that people might experience in other settings. So I love that. That's the beauty of Clubhouse, is that people walk in and there's so much going on, and there's a lot of people, and we're all working together. We're all doing things, and you can't tell who's who. So each member is given the message that they are welcome, needed, and expected every day. And the message that each member's involvement is important to the contribution of the community. Staff, like I mentioned, and other members greet each other at the door and of the Clubhouse each morning with a smile and words of welcome. In the daily work of the Clubhouse community is organized and carried out in a way that continuously reinforces the message of belonging. This isn't difficult, because in fact, the work of the Clubhouse does require the participation of the members. The design of a Clubhouse engages members in every aspect of the operation, and there is always much more work to be done than can be accomplished by the few employed staff. The skills, talents, and creative ideas and efforts of each member are needed and encouraged with each day. Participation, like mentioned, is voluntary, but each member is always invited to participate in work, which includes a variety of different things, which we'll get into.
Yeah, work order day, basically, it's designed to mimic a work order outside world, I guess we could call it that way, in the community. Monday through Friday is the Clubhouse operational hours, 8 to 4:30. Work order day is like 9 to 3. It's a meat of that day in the middle section. We have a clerical unit here. We have a kitchen unit. Some places have a lot more. And that's how we affect the work order day here. Job has to be done. And side by side, this comes to the cost of participants. I don't know. We can refer to that. It doesn't have to. I don't pay anything coming in the door. If I wanted lunch, so it's $2 and stuff like that. Medicaid, we bill Medicaid quite a bit. The work order day gives members the confidence in employment opportunities. Bam, we're talking the day, and we already discussed how the community likes the idea of Clubhouse. A major part of Clubhouse is getting people working with a job, and they feel like, they're a member of the community, just like everybody else, like they should feel. Members have a significant part in giving input, making decisions. Clubhouse, nothing is, all decisions are made with both colleagues, with the members and the staff at hand. There's no closed doors here. If there is, there's a very good reason, and it's not closed for long. Possibly, most likely discussing sensitive material that doesn't need to be shared with everybody. But nothing about the operation of the Clubhouse is behind a closed door. Clubhouse employment services, we are rolling in that. Great, man. We do IPS, supported employment, transitional employment. With those things carry all different levels of how to guarantee the employer they're getting a good person. How about next? Let's go. I like this. And this
You're doing great.
So that describes everything I just talked about in a little more detail, which we're happy to discuss later, not right now. And that's the transitional employment, supported employment, and individual placement services. IPS, education and wellness. Well, one of the things we came back from our training 2 years ago was boosting the attendance. The other thing was education. And we are deep and connected with Ames and University of Northern Colorado. We have more members enrolled in school than ever before. And we have a wellness center downstairs. Pioneer class, I love this. I'm part of the Pioneer House oversight committee. That is a house that was bequeathed to us. If we can make it work, we can use it for our members. And so it's a 4-bedroom place. The whole clubhouse chipped in. This place was a little rundown, a little rough, it had been mistreated. And we all pulled together, opened it up, and we have kept it. We still have it going. I think it's 4 years now. And they love staying there because they get the support of the clubhouse. So social programs, boy, we go bowling, we go to movies, we go to museums. I love that. We go to the Stanley Hotel. Everybody's heard about The Shining. You can do ghost tours at the Stanley Hotel. We've done that here for free. One of the members reached out. They said, sure, bring up 20 people. All sorts of stock shows, baseball games, hockey games. As simple as birthdays and bingos here in the house. We don't have to travel. We do travel, it's nice, but we have Friday afternoon clubs that happen here weekly, and crafts and stuff like that.
You did great, Clark. Look at that. Wow, I couldn't have done better. I want to make a quick note about the social program. Is that the Clubhouse social program takes place during the time that the majority of the broader community is engaging in socialization, fun things. And so during the week, Monday through Friday, we're operating our clubhouse like a business. We call it the work order day in a clubhouse. And our work order day is to support the operation of our clubhouse. So that is our business. And our customers are our membership. And then on the evenings, weekends, and holidays, we get together to have fun, just like anybody else would with their friends, their family, and their community. So I think that's really important to state. It's one of the easiest ways to separate a day treatment program from a clubhouse is day treatment. Usually those social opportunities are built within the business day of the day treatment program. And always feel free to reach out to us. I'm going to stop sharing and hand it over to our facilitator.
Hi all. I know that there was a question in the chat from Libby about the cost to participants, and I answered it and said there is no cost. We get referrals from, the hospice agency. It's a community behavioral health center, and we get referrals from them, but we also get referrals from all over the region. So, and as Clark told you at the beginning, sometimes people just infiltrate.
Yeah, we get self-referrals as well.
Drop-ins, right.
Only got to happen once.
Right, and so, yeah, no cost. I think lunches cost a couple dollars.
Yeah, so just like the clubhouse is a shared community, everything we do is a shared contribution. So clubhouses aren't about handouts. We're not about creating entitlements within our clubhouse community. We're about how can you contribute to the broader community. And so that filters down to anything we do, including any of our meals that are prepared in our licensed kitchen. Everybody pays the same amount, no matter who you are. And it's obviously a smaller amount because we recognize that a lot of members are on fixed incomes and such, but it's a contribution to what it costs to prepare that meal, as well as like our social program. We can go, Clark's mentioned some really awesome socials that cost money. The clubhouse typically will pay half of that cost, and then colleague, whoever's joining in, will pay the other half. So it's a contribution. It's a shared contribution.
So we have a question that came up about funding.
So are they self-supporting or are they supported by outside agencies? And yes, both. As Renee mentioned, sometimes they have hospice agencies that help fund, and I think North Range helps fund you, but you also run your own fundraisers. And so, the goal is to become freestanding, I think at some point. But there are many clubhouses across the country that are freestanding. Is that right?
Yeah, the percentages, current percentage that we received from Clubhouse International, 65% of the clubhouses in the United States are hospiced clubhouses, meaning that they're under the umbrella of a mental health center like we are. So that leaves 35% that are freestanding. Obviously, when you get into other countries, it's much different in terms of their funding systems. But about 65% of our membership is Medicaid. Clubhouses, members do not pay out of pocket for anything. So if someone does not have Medicaid, that doesn't mean that they can't come to the Clubhouse. We still allow, we still welcome anybody to come in, no matter what your insurance is. And as Joanna mentioned, we do supplement a lot of what we like to and must offer to our membership community through fundraising.
And there are resources available if, for example, someone takes part in the employment programs to help them understand how that employment might affect their disability income.
Yeah, like benefits counseling. We work closely with the local vocational rehabilitation office through the state. Voc Rehab, Division of Vocational Rehab, whatever states call that. And that's a funding stream as well if there's a contract in place.
Any other questions? I know we were kind of rushed there at the end, but you know, it's a wonderful program, and I've seen lives change. I think when I was first involved with Clubhouse, what struck my heart immediately was a gentleman who got up and told us about what it was like to work after not having worked for so long. And he said just to be expected somewhere at a job or at Frontier House changed his life, changed the whole trajectory of his life. And that really stuck with me. Many of us take that for granted.
Absolutely.
True. Well, I like the fact that we're interacting with NAMI Johnson County. Did I get that right? I'm going to reach out and suggest maybe a meeting between this local affiliate and the one over there. So, enhance both our lives.
Yeah, Clark, I've now been a member of the board for a few years now, so I'd love to chat with you about. It's a large affiliate and very successful, and I'd love to chat with you about what has made it successful.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I've learned a lot.
Excellent.
Thanks for coming, everyone.
Well, thank you. I just want to say thank you so much. We really appreciate your time and your interest in just learning a little bit about the Clubhouse. So thank you.
Well,
Thank you so much.
I want to remind everyone that we've got another Lunch and Learn next month, third Wednesday, starting at noon. And we're going to talk to the folks from the University of Iowa Seashore Clinic. It's a clinic embedded at the University of Iowa. So join us. Thank you.
Thank you very much.